This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 12th day of June in the year 2019. Here is what we're tracking tonight. In wake of reports that the telephone numbers for at least 4 police officers were found in the cell phone that was used by one of the Berbice bandits recently killed by the police, Public Security Minister Kemraj Ramjatan today declared that every complaint against the police must be investigated.
But I'm certain that in view of what is being regarded as whistleblowing, that indeed these must be investigated. Every complaint, whether it comes from quarters that are more regular, that is written statements about certain policemen dealing with criminal activities, we investigate, and we have caught some policemen. And so we don't have a perfect police force, and yes, of course, I rather suspect that things might be going on.
Reports surfaced last week that the investigators who have been probing the trail of the 3 Berbice bandits that were shot dead by the police found the numbers of 4 police officers in one of the phones that was seized at the scene. The phone is suspected to have belonged to one of the bandits. Mr. Ramjatan said he has not been briefed by the police commissioner about the reports, but he added that he would not be surprised by such reports since there could be some issues of complicity.
In the security sector of almost every country, you would have some complicity sometimes with rogue elements of the law enforcement and criminals. If that isn't the case here, well, I wouldn't be surprised. I would want further investigations to verify its truthfulness and authenticity, and of course to get those who might be involved criminally prosecuted. That's illegal.
Last week, the police commissioner was questioned about the issue. He said the investigations are ongoing and as such he would not want to divulge information that is being probed. The public security minister said one has to be real that these things are going to happen in the police force.
The police force is made up of is a microcosm of your community. And if in our community we got people that do all kinds of rotten things, even businessmen doing all kinds of rotten things in trafficking and all of that, we are going to have, because we have to be real, that indeed these things are going to happen. As I have stated before, men and women are not angels, and they're going to get involved, especially when the profit motive is high. And generally, this complicity with criminals arises out of a profit motive of making some extra monies other than their salaries, and greed. So it will be, in that sense, a useful piece of information for us to know who the culprits are.
The Guyana Police Force has been encouraging persons who may have information about corrupt practices by police officers to file complaints through the Police Office of Professional Responsibility or through the media for those who might not want their identities to be known. More news coming up in just a moment.
Summer is just around the corner, and this year we're giving you a Visacation. It's easy. Get your GBTI Visa card and travel to your dream summer destinations or shop all you want online. With Visacation, you get to win prizes when you use your GBTI Visa card between June 1st and August 31st. Don't have a Visa card? Visit your nearest GBTI branch or go to www.gbtibank.com. GBTI, we see Guyana through your eyes.
You've got this. And we've got you. With Blaze Superfast Internet. Blaze is fast, easy, reliable internet that you can trust. So celebrate, because there's always more to love with GTT.
As a luxury mechanic, I'm often asked, what gas should I use in my expensive vehicle? In other countries, you have regular and mid-grade gasoline known as 87 to 89 and premium gasoline known as octane 93 to 95. For affordable, high-quality fuel, performance and high mileage, visit Guy Oil today. Choose Guy Oil Super 95. Guy Oil, we are everywhere.
Welcome back. The president of Ghana departed Guyana today after wrapping up his 2-day state visit. President David Granger and a number of government ministers were at the airport to bid goodbye. The state visit is being seen as a success by both Guyana and Ghana, as the two countries have cemented their 40-year-old diplomatic relations. Yesterday afternoon, the Ghanaian leader visited Banks DIH Limited and the Marara Distillers Limited. He has indicated an interest in Guyana and Ghana forging trading ties. Ghana is interested in Guyana's rum, wood and rice industry, and trading relations are likely to be developed in those areas as well as the energy and oil and gas sectors.
We've heard the good news too of the recent discovery of large deposits of oil and gas offshore Guyana. We should explore promptly the possibility of establishing a joint vehicle to assist in the effective initial management of oil and gas revenues. With our experiences, I believe Ghana is well equipped to share with you the do's and don'ts in the area and make available fee-free, quality technical assistance to you. Hopefully, the proper management of the new revenues will help finance the spectacular development of Guyana.
President Akufo-Addo speaking there at a luncheon that was hosted in his honor. He also praised the work of President David Granger as he called for the two countries to work even closer.
I have to commend you, Mr. President, for the strong leadership you've exhibited upon assuming the reins of government in 2016. From a growth rate of 3.2% at the end of 2015, the Guyanese economy, according to the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, is projected to grow at 4.6% this year. The agricultural and extractive sectors of the economy witnessing significant growth, it will be fair to conclude that your vision of building a diversified and resilient economy is on course. Since the advent of diplomatic relations between our countries in 1979, we have not done much to create the relevant legal framework for the conduct of our bilateral cooperation. We are looking at deepening our bilateral cooperation with your country, Mr. President, in the areas of agriculture, energy, trade, education, and tourism.
Ghana has also indicated its strong support for Guyana in the territorial controversy with Venezuela. President Akufo-Addo was the second Ghanaian leader to ever visit Guyana. The last visit to Guyana by a president of Ghana was in 1984. Well, let's tell you now that this country is stepping up its efforts to fight trafficking in persons, and today the National Plan of Action for 2019 and 2020 was launched. With the launching, the Plan of Action has now become an official public document. According to the acting coordinator of the Ministerial Task Force on Trafficking in Persons, Oliver Prophet, the action plan is built on using prevention, protection and reintegration, prosecution, and partnership to combat trafficking in persons in Guyana.
Each of those each one of those elements in action, because we have persons here that are engaged in each of those, but the main thing there is partnership, because we all work together, even though we have different agency mandates. We take the time out to meet monthly and put together plans and implement those plans.
The Deputy Director for Social Services in the Ministry of Social Protection, B.K. Samuels, said the Social Protection Ministry will be playing a key role in the implementation of the action plan, especially when it comes to the protection and reintegration of victims.
We believe that cooperation and partnerships among all stakeholders are critical to fighting trafficking in persons. Trafficking in persons requires a multidisciplinary and a multi-stakeholder response. Coordination should be at the national, regional, and international levels, as this is the only way to tackle this scourge.
The task force is headed by the Minister of Public Security, Kemraj Ramjatan. At the launching this morning, he said the work of the task force has seen a decline in cases of trafficking in persons in Guyana and a rise in successful prosecution.
I want to say that having implemented our previous action plan, 2017-2018 action plan, there were some key achievements it is not going to be just proper for us to implement biannual plans or 2-yearly plans. It is also to do an assessment and an evaluation as to our successes. And I must say, although it is extraordinarily difficult in Guyana, because of a variety of reasons, for successful prosecution, that we have managed to investigate and prosecute. 17 individuals were charged. We had 3 convictions for trafficking in persons, and we had another 3 convicted for other crimes arising from trafficking in persons investigations. That is an important development.
Mr. Ramjatan noted that more training will be done with various agencies that will form partnerships against trafficking in persons. Over the past 3 years, Guyana has been recognized by the U.S. State Department for doing more in the fight against trafficking in persons and human trafficking. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has announced the appointment of Guyanese Catherine Pollard as the next Under Secretary General for Management, Strategy, Policy and Compliance at the United Nations. In a statement, the Secretary General's office explained that Ms. Pollard will succeed Jan Beagle of New Zealand. The Secretary General has offered his gratitude for the extraordinary work in management reform in the UN system and 40 years of dedicated service to the organization by the outgoing official. According to the UN office, Ms. Pollard brings over 3 decades of experience in human, financial, information, communications technology, and support operations and services to her new position. She is currently the Under Secretary General for General Assembly and Conference Affairs, a position she assumed back in 2015. Her previous leadership roles include Assistant Secretary General for the General Assembly and Conference Management and Assistant Secretary General for Human Resources Management. Ms. Pollard joined the United Nations in 1989 as the Chief of National Executive Projects at the UNDP. She then served the UN in various capacities, including as Chief Budget Officer for the UN operations in Yugoslavia and Central Headquarters, the Chief of the Budget and Finance Section of the United Nations Volunteers, Director of the Peacekeeping Finance Division in the Office of Program Planning, Budget and Accounts, and the Chief of Staff in the Department of Peacekeeping Operations. Ms. Pollard holds a master's degree in accounting from the University of the West Indies in Jamaica. Turning our attention now to the courts, a High Court judge today ordered that a 22-year-old man undergo psychiatric evaluation following his decision to plead guilty to a number of rape charges. The judge wants a psychiatric report before the sentences are handed down. The young man, Leon Jordan, stood at the High Court this morning and admitted to the rape of a young girl, a teenager, and an adult woman between the years 2012 and 2016. He would have been 15 years old at the time of the first incident committed against a 7-year-old girl, and he would have been 19 years old when he committed the last act. The young man told the court that he believes it is better for him to speak the truth before it is too late and he would have to deal with the regrets. As the judge questioned his state of mind, the youth told the court that there was nothing wrong with him. The judge still went ahead and ordered that a psychiatric report and a probation report be provided to the court by June 26th, when the court will hand down the sentences. In the magistrate's court, a Georgetown man who was charged for the choking and robbery of another man was today sentenced to 3 years in jail following a guilty plea. His alleged accomplice was remanded to prison as he maintained his innocence. The 2 men, Brian Pompey and David Williams, appeared before Magistrate Faith McGusty today, and it was reported to the court that on the 8th of June, in the vicinity of Regent Street, the 2 choked and robbed Parimdra Chatterpal of his cell phone and $50,000 cash. The police report is that the 2 were part of a gang that pounced on the man as he was making his way out of a minibus. The man was able to raise an alarm and police officers who were in the vicinity rushed to his aid. While the other suspects made their escape, the 2 men were arrested, with the stolen items being found stashed in the pants of one of the men, Brian Pompey. After the details of the charge were read out in court today, Pompey entered a guilty plea and was immediately sentenced to 3 years in jail. The alleged accomplice was remanded as he maintained that he is not guilty of the crime and intends to go to trial. Across the Region is coming up next.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever wear that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Falls, a trademark of China's Zhanghao Incorporated, located at Land of Cane in East Bank, Demerara, was incorporated in April of 2013 with over $10 billion Guyana dollars invested in a state-of-the-art 100,000 barrel fuel storage facility, a modern service station, an office complex, and a modern wharf that can berth international vessels. Having no association with any other fuel company, Falls imports its own fuel, which meets quality specifications, has all the legal permits, and is in compliance with international requirements. Its bulk facility can load 8 trucks simultaneously at a rate of 1,000 liters per minute, while the service station can service 12 cars at a time using computerized fuel pumps, which can facilitate the use of ATM cards. Through its professional team of mostly Guyanese, Falls wholesales and retails fuels to the public, including farmers and miners, and will continue to positively contribute to Guyana by providing quality products, service, and attractive prices. Try Falls today for all your fuel needs.
Across the region right now, a Grenadian national is facing up to 7 years in jail in the United States after he appeared in a New York court and was charged with several offenses related to his work with 3 undocumented Caribbean immigrants who had sought his services to process work permits and green card applications. The 55-year-old man, James Archibald, is due back in court on the 8th of August for sentencing. He was arraigned on Monday night before Brooklyn criminal judge Joseph McCormack on a 10-count criminal complaint. He's accused of grand larceny, scheme to defraud, immigration assistance services fraud, and related charges for allegedly stealing $8,520 from the 3 undocumented Caribbean immigrants. The U.S. State Attorney said that between October 2016 and May 2018, the defendant, who was the owner of a company called U.S. Caribbean and Asian Development Organization, allegedly stole $8,520 from the 3 undocumented immigrants, who paid him to process and expedite work permits and green card applications for them. When the man failed to provide the services that he promised and the victims attempted to get their money back, he told them that he would contact the U.S. immigration authorities if they continued to bother him. Over in Haiti, the president there, Jovenel Moïse, will not bow to demands of protesters and resign amid allegations of embezzlement of funds linked to the Petro-Caribbean Oil Initiative, according to his spokesman. Thousands of people have taken to the streets since Sunday demanding the resignation of the president, but his spokesman said he will not resign. The spokesman said that President Moïse had done everything to ensure that the investigation into Petro-Caribbean was done properly. Petro-Caribbean is an oil alliance of many Caribbean states with Venezuela to purchase oil on conditions of preferential payment. Earlier this week, the state filed a complaint with the Public Prosecutor's Office of Port-au-Prince against those persons implicated in the scandal, based on the report of the Superior Court of Accounts and Administrative Litigation. And finally tonight, international news. Hong Kong's chief executive Carrie Lam has criticized protests against a proposed bill that would allow extradition to China, calling those protests organized riots. She said the clashes between protesters and the police were unacceptable for any civilized society. 72 people aged between 15 and 66 were injured in violence, including 2 men who were in a critical condition. The bill's critics cite the alleged use of torture, arbitrary detentions, and forced confessions in mainland China. They also feared that the law could be used to target political opponents of the Chinese state in Hong Kong. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting.